my name is Liz I Read and welcome to another video. So today I am reviewing the book The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung. So this is a nonfiction book. It is clearly by the title about obesity, and it is specifically about how people gain weight, kind of the scientific side of things, explaining why it's so hard to lose weight, why diets eventually always fail, and a solution to the obesity epidemic. I really enjoyed this nonfiction a lot. I found it extremely encouraging. I highly recommend people reading it who, for one thing, want to lose weight, but finding it extremely difficult to lose weight doing traditional diets. And I'm definitely one of those people. And so I found it really encouraging, like I said, and really insightful and heavily based in science. So throughout the book, he talks about the obesity epidemic. He talks about how we as a society has got there and how obesity is actually inherited through our family. He talks about the thoughts and ideas about calories and how they're actually wrong. Specifically about calorie deficit diets, how they do not work and how they actually end up failing. And the exercise myth, how exercise can help you lose weight. And in fact, it doesn't quite do that. He talks about insulin resistance, and cortisol, which are all the hormones that affect weight. He specifically mostly goes through insulin and insulin resistance, but there is a portion about cortisol as well. I don't think I'm going to try to explain it because he does a better job at that, but these are all hormones, and insulin is the hormone that helps us store fat in our cells, or just helps us store fat. And basically he explains how if you have an increase of insulin, you are going to gain weight almost every time. Every time you have high insulin levels, you are going to gain weight. And he talks about how if you have high cortisol, you will gain weight as well. And cortisol is the fight or flight hormone. So basically, if you have high stress in your life, you will have high cortisol, and then you will gain weight. And with insulin, you have high insulin levels if you continuously eat throughout the day and if you eat a lot of carbohydrates. So yeah, he explains it obviously way better than I am right now. And insulin resistance is basically when you have extremely high levels of insulin, and to the point where the insulin hormone does not work very well, and the more insulin you have, the more your body is resistant to it, and so you just continue to gain weight. Like I said, he explains it way better in the book, but he goes over that in the book. And he talks about food companies, how our society has changed when it comes to food, and he talks about how poverty and obesity are linked, and he talks about childhood obesity a little bit. And he talks about what's extremely wrong about our diets. He talks about fructose, how it's not good for us. He talks about how diet soda doesn't work. And then he talks about carbohydrates, fiber, protein, a lot of other things. He does talk about the Atkins diet a little bit. And then at the end, he talks about what we should eat and when we should eat. And his big takeaway from this whole thing is that if you want to lose weight, the best way to lose weight is by fasting. And he has some, like at the end of the book, he has some charts for you to look at if you want kind of like a guideline of different foods to eat and when to eat it. So he is a big believer in intermittent fasting and even long-term fasting. He believes that fasting is actually really healthy for you and good for you, and it helps with maintenance of weight, but also with losing of weight. Like I said before, found it extremely encouraging, and it was really interesting to read all the studies that he shares in the book explaining why diets don't work. They've done these huge studies where they track people who go on diets or track people who continually reduce their food intake or calorie intake, and it could just go to show that basically what happens is your body adjusts to the calorie deficit. So the less food you take in, or the less calories you take in, the less energy your body will expend, because it's trying to preserve the calories that it needs to function. And it's super interesting. If I'm not explaining it very well, I'm very sorry. But I really enjoyed it. I found it really encouraging. I highly recommend this book. If you like reading about diet books, definitely read this because it's highly science-based. It was I had to read it kind of at a slower pace because it is very high science-based, and I wanted to make sure I was fully understanding everything. But he writes it in a very digestible way. It's easy to understand. He explains it so anyone can understand it. I pretty much believe everything that the guy had to say about dieting and fasting, and I am currently trying it. It's hard, like fasting's hard. I'm not sure if it's harder than dieting, but it's hard enough, that's for sure. And I think it's something you definitely have to train your body to do. But I'm understanding the benefits of it, and I'm excited to see where it takes me. So I gave this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I will be honest, I didn't finish it. I read like pretty much the majority. There were some sections I left out because I was reading my mom's copy, I was visiting my family, and I had to leave it there. But for the most part, I got the majority of the gist, and I read all the important things that I need to read. The sections I didn't read were maybe like three mini chapters. So I pretty much read the majority of the book, and I highly recommend, if this is the type of nonfiction you would be interested in reading. So that's it. If you guys read this book, please comment down below and share your thoughts about it. If you think it's a good resource, if you agree with Dr. Fung, if you disagree. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about this book. If you've tried intermittent fasting, comment down below. I would love to know your experience with it, if it works for you, if it doesn't. I love to hear from you guys and have a conversation with you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. If you have not done so, you can follow me on Instagram and Goodreads. And you know what? I want to keep reading. Bye.